BET up for sale. Black Entertainment Television.
Bet.
Yes, that's right. The studio that you and I grew up on, man. Loving, watching BET Uncut late at night is up for sale, Mr. Benja. So what does that mean for BET? So before we get into that, I get for those that don't know, so Paramount Viacom, they have all these conglomerates like Paramount Studios and they got Nickelodeon and the Star Trek universe. So yes, they're doing well, with thanks to Tom Cruise, right? But they're still so small in the whole scheme of things. And a matter of fact, they just recently put together Showtime as part of the package for Paramount Plus. So they're gonna rename Showtime into something else now, right? But the thing is, and they got to offer someone say, "Hey, we'll buy Showtime, take it off your books for $3 billion," because they know Paramount's so small, doesn't have the streaming, numbers like a Disney Plus or Netflix, and it just doesn't have and it's all CBS is also under that umbrella for Paramount. They just don't have the dollars, right, to compete. We know this streaming is expensive. So yeah, so I think that the owner, Sherry Redstone, she said, "No, we're gonna keep Showtime." But someone says, "Hey, we may be interested in letting loose BET," and
Uh,
they've had BET forever.
mm,
Yeah. So Bob Johnson
ain't
saw
ain't been
it,
doing nothing
sold the
with it.
Viacom. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think that's the question, what and, shout out to Mac Bellamy and, the Puck News guys. He kind of I thought was good. I mean, I was kind of in the back of my mind, it's like, no one's really talking about the BET story, right? What's going on with them? And he really broke it down, he and Julia over at, Puck News. And it was just good to get their perspective on what's happening there. So it's up for sale. So they got some good candidates, people we've heard before, Tyler Perry, Diddy, Byron Allen. For those who don't know Byron Allen, it's got money now because of, the Weather Channel, some other things he's been doing, but he's a mogul. And of course, some other private equity guys are looking to get into that. So what are your thoughts? You're right. They weren't doing anything with it. And I think, if you get a good owner of this property, they could really make this for the culture again, right? And I
Yeah.
could see it, doing something big. Of the candidates, or if you have some other general thoughts, who do you think would be best to own this property?
Well, before we get into like who would own it, the thing about it is a little history here. Back in the day, there used to be basically the two major music and dance and arts programming would come from MTV and BET. And the thing is, everybody who saw like, oh, the Wu-Tang Clan, where'd you hear about them? MTV. Okay, you don't know anything about the Wu-Tang Clan because they've been on Yo MTV Raps, they've been on MTV Jam. I mean, they've been on all this other stuff on BET, Rap City. They've been on, all kinds of little documentaries and just showing up on BET. And BET was basically bringing these people up, and then all of a sudden they'd march off over to MTV. But BET kept really plugging away at trying to make a better program, a better, um, network, and they were really fighting it, right?
And let's
So
not forget too, MTV, remember, they didn't show black artists for the longest time. I think
it
Michael
was a
Jackson was the
fight
only
to
one.
to show black
Yeah.
artists on
And
MTV. Yeah,
Michael Jackson was the first one and only one for a while. So I think BET, amongst everything, Bob Johnson created it to, be a counterbalance to that, so
yeah, and that's a classic fight and a classic struggle, right? Where it's like, yeah, we don't want to give you a platform, and then you build up your own platform enough, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, now let's absorb your platform. Let's enter. Like what? Yeah, what's going on? You know,
it's the tale as old as time.
yeah. So I mean, you look back at history and like that happened. So now you know, BET is not a threat. Nothing's happening. I mean, Tyler Perry is not threatening anybody. Nobody is like, oh man, he's going to get on TV and say something dangerous.
Yeah,
Uh,
and let's dig into that, and that's one of the reasons why I sent the email to Matt Bellamy. So he and his and they are not black. Let's be honest, and so they were just like, oh man, praising Tyler Perry through the roof. Which I get. He's a mogul. He's a billionaire. He's built something out of nothing. And I think that's the thing with black folks. We respect that, if nothing else, right?
Mhm.
Now, the quality of what he creates, that's a whole other conversation. And I think I don't know too many people watched the Atlanta the last season, but they had an episode specifically talking to that, where it's like that challenge that we as the Black Americans have for the pride we feel in what Tyler Perry has built. but based on what, and the quality of the content he does. Especially he's been in the content game for so long. Why hasn't it elevated? I mean, why hasn't he tried to do something different, or at least with I think, yeah, let's just say that. It doesn't seem like
Yeah,
it's elevated, especially if you watch some of the BET shows like The Oval. Oh my God, that is so much trash. It's not even funny.
yeah,
So anyway, I digress to say that they really said, "Hey, we want he has the experience. He's already doing a lot of content for BT. He helped launch the BT Plus service. So yeah, it does seem like a natural fit. So I don't know. What were your thoughts on that?
yeah. Who could take it? The names that are getting thrown around. Diddy, I like that. Byron Allen, sure, I like that's fine. I don't think that the network has anybody really gunning for it though, because we're in this new age now, this new era where it's like, what do you what does your brand mean? What are you bringing to the table? And unless someone's planning on doing a major overhaul, a major push and, force into something else, I mean, what are you what are you trying to do? I just don't see it. Like what the new brand proposition is. So
Mhm,
Diddy with Revolt TV, I guess so. He's got podcasts and stuff on there. Works.
mhm, mhm. Does the Revolt invest in Black Effect, the Man of God podcast
Mhm.
network, or is that separate?
I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah,
Maybe they can get
maybe it is.
Kevin Hart and Jay-Z to team up and buy it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd
But
be interesting.
so, the article I sent you, they talked about that. So what's a comparable comp? I don't know if you saw that. Crunchyroll, right? You're a
Okay.
big, anime guy, and
Yeah.
they, done well for themselves, right? They were just a little niche, little, content provider, but they had deep relationships with all the Japanese animation houses. And so they have a rabid fan base. And so anytime they create like a movie event around like a 2 episode arc, and
Yeah.
put out the movies, they still make about 20 million on the show they probably would have put on streaming.
Yeah.
And so it got bought out by what I think HBO, or who bought Crunchyroll again? I
Sony.
forgot. Sony, yeah. So, it's killing the game because they know their audience. So someone said BT could do something similar, right? Be the decentralized, hub for everything related to black, get back, the videos. I mean, yes, it's a TikTok generation and all that, but why couldn't you put movies together, create characters, create, I mean, you saw Tyler Perry, my kids are watching, Nickelodeon. They got
Mhm.
some TV shows about young black kids, and like, why not put that on BET, right? So just create a whole experience where you just, have immersed into the black, that diaspora, right? And be an experience from movies, TV, streaming, podcasts, but you need someone that's passionate about it that and has experience. So I see that and it could work. I mean, stars, they talked about stars. No one talks about stars, but what they've been doing with 50 Cent and his brand on power, that's huge, and so more of that stuff I think is wise to kind of look at. So yeah, I hope someone comes in and does well with BT, and I think it's about time we have someone to kinda shake it up and do something interesting there.
Yeah, it's about time when we get a new I was just looking up some things right here. It's about time we get a new, I don't wanna say media platform, but when you start having these platforms morph into the next iteration or something current for this or proper for this current generation. And in my in my searches, right? I was, how I'm always checking out which service I'm going to subscribe to, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, you got Bad Batch and Mandalorian out right now. Maybe I should get back on Disney Plus after my hiatus, right? And I thought about BT Plus, but I didn't go with Disney either. I ended up getting a subscription to the New York Times, and I looked at it, dog. It has 3.8 million followers on Instagram. Wait, I correct that. That's just the cooking section of New York Times. The actual New York Times has 16.9 million followers. It has a huge number of digital subscribers, and only about 7% of those subscribers are on paper.
Mm,
So the other 93% are digital only. I started going into their ecosystem and like I'm playing the little crossword every day and now
yeah.
I'm starting to see the same people
Wordle.
in the yeah, yeah, that too. They have comment sections for each of their games and articles on every crossword they put out. So it's like this it's phenomenal what they're doing with their community. And I'm like, you know what? Once someone starts to crack this nut and can do this classic kind of storytelling and community building with the new tools. I don't know anybody out there who's doing it better than the New York Times right now, but
That's
it's kind.
man, from a business standpoint, that's a great comp because they were old media. They were dead. I mean, dead on the vine, let's be honest, right?
Mhm,
They were gonna be sold for scraps. And they just revitalized, the whole streaming market. Just like Wall Street Journal years ago, they optimized on streaming. I mean, on a paid model to access the Wall Street Journal. And they've been,
mhm,
relevant ever since. New York Times went that route. But to your point, they built even stronger community around their games, the cooking channels, and all this other stuff. So now people are kind of like, drawn to it. And so guess who was on the board? I don't know if he still is, but on the board of the New York Times.
mhm.
He was, I think. Prof G, Scott Galloway. So I think he
Okay.
was instrumental in kind of guiding them toward this brand strategy of like, being a hub for, intellectuals, kind of sense. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it looks like it's working for him. I agree. I mean, and that's a great comp. BET could be the same, be this hub, where people go to for everything related to black. You want to know what's going why couldn't they? I mean, Revolt TV. I mean, if we were smart, man, you know, the black gurus and everyone. This is we could make billions of dollars. We just get Joe Budden, get Charlamagne the God, get the all the new influencers out there on streaming. Earn Your Leisure guys. Go get even Oprah. Some of the old generation, and
Mhm.
just build it out, man, and just be like, boom. If you want to, where's your black card? You want to get into the black culture.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
it. And then we would did that, man, we would control Hollywood. But that's they got too many folks working for them. I know I sound like Boyce Watkins now, don't I?
No.
But it's just be one, be one. You be one, put be one in the chat. But yeah, man, I think that would be powerful, man. We can just own it and then be kind of like the gateway to everything related to black culture.
Imma start calling you Theo Bet Harvey.
Why not?
It's not Bet David, it's Bet Harvey. Oh, man.
Man, I mean, it
Uh,
just makes sense, man. You got the new gurus, the old gurus, the mid-tier gurus. Just let's just all come together, man. There's enough money out there for everybody because they come to us any I mean, copyright our dancing on TikTok,
yeah,
so put it on our BET so they know this came from these core. So if you see it on TikTok, you know, we're
yeah, yeah,
gonna coming after you. So anyway, it could be a vibe, but it's history that keeps us doing that sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Alright, that's
So
that story.